Hey everybody, I'm here to talk about 4.MBT6. I'm talking about long division now with the larger numbers. So if you could please watch the video through once and just listen and learn, maybe practice some with me, and then a second time with your math notebook, pausing where you need to copy these notes into your math notebook. All right, first thing we always do is head our paper so that we know what we're studying. And we are just continuing on. So if you've already watched the other videos, you know that these are the steps that you follow for long division. You can remember them by dad, mother, sister, brother, and you can do repeat or rover, maybe for the dog, and that means repeat, and then also looking for a remainder, either or. So dad is divide, mom is multiply, sister is subtract, brother is bring down, and rover is either repeat or find the remainder. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just start with a couple problems to practice together. So you can do these in your notebook and pause the video and then start it up again to see if our answers match, or you can just follow along, whichever is easier for you. So the first thing I'm going to work on is this problem up here, and I'm going to just use my finger to cover. So the first thing you do is you start with the first number. Can 3 fit into 1? No, it cannot. So I slide my finger over. And now I have 12. Can 3 fit into 12? Yes. And if it can fit into 12, that means that I can divide it. So 12 divided into 3 groups is how many? 4. So I put the 4 up at the top, right above the 12. And now that was the division part, and now I'm going to do the multiplying. 4 times 3 is 12. I put that right underneath. And so I'm going to subtract. So I subtract, I'm here on this step. 12 minus 12 is 0. And now I bring down. So now I'm going to bring that 3 down here. Now I'm going to be going to this step to do the next step. So I'm going to do divide. Can 3 be divided by 3? Yes, it can. How many groups can you get out? 1. Now 1 times 3 equals 3. I subtract, and there's nothing to bring down, so my final answer is 41. Okay? It's the same steps over and over again. It does not matter how many numbers that they line up for you to divide. You do the same thing. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down over and over and over again until you can't go anymore. All right? So I start here again. I cover up the first number, and I leave the first number showing, and I cover up the rest. I see that's a 5. I know that 4 can fit into 5 one time, so I can divide 5. If I had 5 pieces, I could divide one group of 4 out of there. So I'm going to put the 1 up top. That's the division. Now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. I put it right underneath. I'm going to subtract just the 5 and the 4. So 5 minus 4 is 1. That's the subtraction. Now I'm going to bring the next number down. So I put my arrow and I put a 2. It's really important also that you do write that arrow, because then you know for sure that you brought the number down. Some people forget to bring it down, and that's how they get the problem wrong. So by drawing that arrow, you'll really be helping yourself. Okay, so now I'm repeating the whole step. So can 12 be divided into groups of 4? Yes, it can. 3 groups of 4. So now I'm going to multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. Now I'm going to subtract 0. Now I'm going to bring down the last number, which is the 9. Put that here. Can 9 be divided into groups of 4? Yes, it can. How many groups can you get out of there without going over? 2. 2 times 4 is 8. I'm going to subtract. There's nothing left to bring down, and so that becomes my remainder. So then I write R1. Make sure that you don't just ignore that. If you just answered this problem as 132, you would get it wrong. You have to make sure you write remainder 1. Okay, so make sure that you circle this or whatever you need to do to include that in your answer. So this should be your answer up here. It has to include that remainder. Okay, so we're going to try these 2 problems also. If you want to write them down and give it a shot and then stop the video and then watch, however you want to do it, or practice along with me, it's going to be very helpful. Okay, again, use your finger to cover up. Can I divide 7 into groups of 3? Yes, I can. 7. I can fit 3 into 7 2 times without going over. That would give me 2 times 3 is 6. So I divided and I just multiplied. Now I'm going to subtract. I get 7 minus 6 is 1. And now I'm going to bring down. Just because that is a 0 doesn't mean that you treat it any different. Sometimes kids get freaked out when they see the 0, but it is still a number. It represents nothing, but it's still a number. I still have to bring it down. And you can see when I brought it down, it now makes this number a 10. So that's really important that you do all the same steps. Don't get worried or confused if you see a 0. You do the same things. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. Can I divide 10 into groups of 3? Yes, I can. How many without going over? 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. Now I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 9 is 1. Now I'm going to bring down. Draw your arrow, bring your 2 down. Okay, now I'm looking at this 12. Can I divide 12 into groups of 3? Yes, I can. 4, because 4 times 3 is 12. And now I subtract. There's nothing left to bring down. I have nothing for a remainder, so my answer is 234. Okay, last one, same steps. I cover up the first part. I have a 2. Can I divide 2 into groups of 6? No, I can't. So I have to slide my finger over one more, and now I have 20. Can I divide 20 into groups of 6? Yes, I can. How many without going over? Well, 6 times 3 is 18. So 3 times 6, 18. I put that. I do the subtraction, which would be borrowing, and that would make that 2. And 1 minus 1 would be 0. So 2, and I'm going to bring down the 7. Okay, so now I'm down to the 27. Can 27 be divided into groups of 6 without going over? Yes, I can get up to 4 groups of 6 would give me to 24. And if I didn't know this, another thing that you could be doing on the side is going like this so that you have the facts here. If you haven't memorized your 6 family, then you should write this down over to the side of your paper so that you can refer to it if you need to. Okay, so now I need to get into 27 without going over, and I can see 6 times 5 is 30. That's too many, so I need to go back to the 24. So I'm going to use 4. I put the 4, sorry, that's kind of close, up there. 4 times 6 is 24. I subtract. I'm going to get 3. There's no more numbers to bring down, and I have 3 left over, which means that my answer is remainder 3. Sorry about that. It's kind of squished. And there you go. All right, so that's all there is to it. It's just the same steps over and over. You may need to watch the video more than once to help it make sense, but we continue to do the same steps, and we will practice this in class. And please feel free to ask me questions if you have any, and I will see you then. Bye.